Fantasy Football Fix have the best FPL tools to help you win your mini leagues this season, as you can track the world's best managers live with the Consensus XI, which is a combination of managers posting up 80 top 10k finishers teams averaged out into one squad, which you can track every single week. You also get instant team change notifications before each game week, so you can stay up to date with your squad. So get started free now with the link fantasyfootballfix.com. Hello FPL managers, and welcome back for another video. My name's Jack, and today we're going to be reviewing FPL YouTubers drafts coming into game week 1. It's going to be interesting to see what these teams do. Look like we're going over a couple of other fellow FPL YouTubers. As always, if you guys are new to the channel, leave a like and subscribe. Game week 1 is just around the corner. I'm very hyped for the start of the new Premier League season, so to not miss a new video, have those notification bells turned on, as there's going to be plenty more FPL content coming your guys' way shortly. And with that being said, let's jump into the video. So for the first YouTubers team we're going to look at, this one is from Let's Talk FPL. This is his third draft that he has made. He's got a 3-4-3 formation, a fairly popular formation, not quite as popular as a 3-5-2. It's very rare to see a 3-forward team this season. It's probably the second most popular formation coming into game week 1, obviously with Nkunku, Jesus and Haaland all up top there. A bit differential there with Nkunku. I like the pick. He picked himself up a goal in his most recent preseason fixture. He has been looking pretty solid in pre-season for Chelsea as well. I think he's going to be a really good option. He should be on penalties for Chelsea, which is good to see from his standpoint. I'm excited to see what Nkunku can produce for Chelsea this season. Chelsea do have some pretty kind fixtures to start the new year. Obviously, the first couple of game weeks aren't quite as easy, but then they do have some really good fixtures from game week 3 onwards. Some of the best fixtures out of any team in the Prem. So I think Nkunku a very good price as well at 7.5. I think he's an excellent forward pick. Probably my third favourite forward pick behind his other two forwards here in Jesus and Haaland. Looking around the team, Flecken looks to be a good option at 4.5. There was some rare transfer news to potentially be linked to some other clubs. Bayern were interested in the last couple of days, so I think Raya on the way out. Flecken is going to be a really good option for Brentford. Gabriel, Stupian and Trent, a very solid back three. Obviously Trent, a very premium option there at £8 million. Personally, a player not in my team. I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to live up to the billing at £8 million, but Let's Talk FPL does have him in here. Stupian and Gabriel, two defenders that are in my team. I think they're two excellently priced defenders, both at 5 mil. Should be very good to start the new year. Arsenal and Brighton do have some excellent fixtures from a defensive perspective. Looking towards the midfield, Rashford, Mbeumo, Saka and Matoma, fairly stock standard midfield. I like the picks of Matoma and Mbeumo, both there at £6.5 million. And Rashford and Saka, two very good midfield picks. It's good to see that he's got Rashford over Bruno Fernandes. With Mason Mount coming into that Manchester United team, it's going to be interesting to see what Bruno Fernandes' positioning is like from open play. Obviously, I would expect him to still have set pieces and penalties, which is a massive string to the Fernandes bow, but I think Rashford does have a little bit more security around where he's going to be playing. Obviously, Man U just signed a striker, so I think gives Rashford a chance to play in his preferred position out wide, so I think he's going to flourish once again this year. Wolves at home, game week 1's a pretty good fixture as well. He scored in the reverse fixture against Wolves last season, so I do really like Marcus Rashford there. Let's have a look at his bench. He does have some pretty good backup in defence there with Porro. I think he's going to be a nice option. He was getting into some really good positions for Spurs in that fullback role, and obviously with Ange at the wheel for Spurs, I'm sure he's going to be getting fairly far high up the pitch. He was doing that in pre-season quite a bit, so hopefully that translates in the Premier League, especially for Pedro Porro owner's standpoint on FPL. Baldock there at 4.0, a decent 4.0 defender. Obviously, Bayer and Bell are two popular 4.0 defender picks, but Baldock there also a fairly decent option, and Nakamba as well is his third bench slot player. Areola is the sub keeper. Personally, I'm a massive fan of this team. I like the 3-4-3 formation. Having three forwards gives you so much flexibility in your squad. Having Porro on the bench as well, he's got some pretty good bench options there. Most of these players in the starting 11 have good fixtures as well, so if he does need some rotation, of course, he has got the bench options, but a lot of these players he will be playing week in, week out. I'm a massive fan of this team. I've given it a 9 out of 10. Let's have a look at the next YouTubers team. This one is FPL Raptor. I really like this team because he has Mo Salah in his side. Salah is a player that is currently in my Game Week 1 draft, so that instantly gave him some extra points just for having Salah in there. I think he's going to be a superb midfield pick this year. No doubt, once again, it should be the highest scoring midfield option in FPL this season. Let's have a look around the team first, starting off in defence. Johnston in goals looks to be a good option. Crystal Palace have some pretty strong fixtures to start the season. Sheffield away in Game Week 1 are just one of their very, very good fixtures. Looking at the back four, no Trent either, which I'm also a massive fan of. I think if you have Salah in the team, it's very hard to work in Trent, but I'm not quite sure he's worth £8 million. Quite a significantly higher price than some of those other fullback defenders, which I think can match him for points. Luke Shaw being one of those guys, which he does have in his team. I also think Ben Chilwell from Chelsea is going to be a really good pick at $5.5 million. Looked very promising in pre-season. In his most recent pre-season game, got himself an assist from a corner and also took a shot as well in the box, which was good to see him pushing up the pitch. Speaking of fullbacks, he's got Pervis Estupiñán in there as well. I think he's a really nice option. He's going to be a fairly stock standard pick across most of these drafts, I'd have to assume. Gabriel, another player in my team, and Rico Henry as well, another player in my team. I think he is an excellent pick for Brentford at 4.5. If you're not going to go for a Brentford goalkeeper and you want to capitalise on their defence, I think Henry is their best pick there. He's obviously playing the fullback role, was very, very good for Brentford last season. Brentford do have some good fixtures to start the new season, so he's probably my favourite outfield Brentford player, apart from Mbeumo this season in FPL. Looking to his midfield five, he has Salah, Rashford, Foden, and Mbeumo and Saka, an extremely strong set of five midfielders. I like Foden. I think he's going to be really good this season for Man City. Obviously, with a couple of players leaving that squad, such as Mahrez, I think Foden's minutes should be a little bit more shored up. I think he's going to get a lot more minutes this season compared to previous, and when he is playing, he is very, very efficient in getting goals and assists for Man City. Salah and Rashford, of course, two options that I really love. My two favourite midfield picks to start this new season. Saka probably being my third favourite pick there as well at $8.5 million. He does feature in this side. And Mbeumo, a popular choice at 6.5. Interesting to see that he went for Mbeumo over Matoma. Both very good options at that price point. But it's going to be interesting to see how this Mbeumo pick pays off. I think both should score well. I'll be interested to see who does score higher between the pair. He's got Erling Haaland up top in a 4-5-1 formation, Pau Torres on the bench, and two 4.5 forwards in Semenyo and Archer. So he does have Pau Torres to increase that bench depth. Obviously, only one playing defender you'd have to assume, so playing bench play you'd have to assume on his bench here. So not as much flexibility, but a very, very strong starting 11. So it loses a couple of points for not having as good flexibility around the team. That's why he's got 8.5. But nonetheless, I'm a massive fan of this team. Salah's in there. I'm a huge fan of Mo Salah to start the season. So I think this team should go very, very well. Looking at the third YouTubers team, this one is from FPL Focal. Not one of my favourite teams compared to some of those other YouTuber drafts so far. I've given him a 7 out of 10 so far for this rating. Obviously, what do I know about FPL? This man is a very good FPL manager. Didn't have as good a season last year, but I think he's still a very, very good FPL personality, FPL YouTuber in general. Let's have a look at his team. Onana at 5.0, the new Manchester United goalkeeper. I'm excited to see what he can produce in Manchester United colours. Hopefully the defence does stay strong if you're an Onana owner in FPL, as they were very, very good at home last season. De Gea was a keeper that I had for quite a lot of the back end of last year when Man U's defence were extremely strong. So I think Onana should be able to continue that trend. Man U have some pretty kind fixtures from a defensive standpoint to start the new season. Wolves at home is a really good chance for a clean sheet. So I think he could be an exciting option to own in goals. Trippier, on the other hand, though, I'm not a massive fan of Trippier here. He's got some very difficult fixtures to start the new season. I don't think he quite warrants his price tag of £6.5 million. A little bit too expensive for me. So personally, I would be avoiding him to start the season. That's one of the main points why this team has lost a score out of 10. Gabriel Zinchenko and Arsenal double up at the back. Yes, Arsenal do have some good fixtures. I'm not sure if they're worth a double up. Maybe I'd be looking to explore some other defenses there, especially when there are a couple of other good picks in a Stupinian that he hasn't quite gone for here instead of Zinchenko. But once again, if Arsenal do defend well, then obviously he's going to be cashing in on double clean sheets here. And he does have some pretty good backup defenders staying on the bench with Pedro Porro and Reece James. I'm assuming Reece James could switch to Chilwell. Obviously, Reece James with some injury concerns, so Chilwell could be a good replacement there for James. I'm sure that move will be made. Otherwise, a very, very strong set of 5 defenders here with Trippier, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Porro, and Reece James. A very, very strong defense. Let's have a look at the midfield picks here. Mbumo, Sterling, Matoma, Fernandes, and Rashford are the midfield 5. Interesting to see a double up on Manchester United's midfield. There hasn't been too much of this in drafts that I've seen with both Fernandes and Rashford. Normally it's just one of the two, but it's interesting to see how this will pay off. Sterling also quite a risky pick in midfield. Definitely going to be interesting to see with the new manager how Sterling's role changes, how his goal input can increase. He saw a massive price drop, compared to last season. His price was way higher last year, so he could be a lot better value in midfield this year. Definitely a wait and see for me on Sterling. I'm not quite sold on him yet. If he can start getting some goals in the early first couple game weeks, I'm sure he's going to be a good option from game week 3 onwards when Chelsea do have those really, really good fixtures. And Mbumo and Matoma, two quite popular options at £6.5 million in a lot of drafts. And Jesus and Haaland, a very trusty strike formation. Overall, I've given this team a 7 out of 10. It probably loses points for having double Arsenal defense and Trippier in there as well. I'm also not sure having this stronger bench for game week 1 is worthwhile. I think with the way that game's set up, it's probably better to have a strong starting 11, have a strongest starting 11 as possible, and not have a slightly weaker bench. Obviously, there's no playing 4.5 mids or forwards, so it seems to be a lot of people are looking to maximize their starting 11. FPL Focal's gone for a stronger bench route, but I'm sure it will pay off for him as he is a pretty good FPL manager. Let's have a look at the final team now. This one is from FPL Harry. I've given this one an 8.5 out of 10, the second or tied second highest rating amongst the FPL YouTuber drafts. This man is an absolute beast at FPL management, probably the best FPL YouTuber in my opinion at actually playing FPL. Looking at his previous ranks, 3.8k, 1.5k, 510 last season. This man's an absolute beast in terms of playing FPL. Let's have a look at his draft, as I'm sure he knows what he's talking about. Steele and Areola are his goalkeeping combination. Cashing in on that Brighton defense. He doesn't have a Stupinian in his defender list here, so he's wanting to capitalize on Brighton's defense through their goalkeeper and Steele. Definitely a wise option, as it has allowed him to maximize the amount of money that he spent around the defense. He's got some very, very good fullback options in there. Trent, Luke Shaw, and Ben Chilwell, 3 elite fullback defensive options here. Gabriel, a very, very solid 5.0 player, and he's got Bell at 4.0, a very good at playing a 4.0 defender option there. All these 4 defenders are very good picks in my opinion. I think they should all perform well to start the new season, and all 4 of them have some pretty kind starting fixtures. Trent probably has the worst fixtures out of the 4, but he has the best attacking potential out of the 4. So that's kind of the way off, or the trade-off that you make there with having Trent in defense. Looking at his midfield, Saka, Foden, Mbumo, and Ciso and Rashford, a fairly strong midfield. The only reason this draft loses points is for Ciso. He hasn't been getting that many starting minutes in pre-season. Only started 1 out of Brighton's 3 pre-season fixtures so far, and the game that he did start was when Brighton started most of their bench rotation plays. This could be hinting towards the fact that Ciso is going to be getting benched this season. Obviously, 3 games of preseason information, not a massive amount to judge off. They still have a couple of more preseason fixtures. I'd be interested to see what Enciso's minutes are like in this, and whether he's playing with the starters when he's playing in preseason, or he's playing with the bench unit when he comes on and plays for Brighton throughout preseason. Otherwise, a very strong front 2 with Haaland and Jesus, and he's got the 4.5 forward there. A very, very good team. The only reason I think this team loses points for me is for Enciso, but at the end of the day, this man knows a lot more about FPL than me, so I'm sure he knows what he's doing. I've given it an 8.5 out of 10, a very, very good draft from FPL Harry. Thanks for watching today's Rating FPL YouTubers drafts. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know whose YouTubers draft you like the most out of these ones that we've listed here. As always, if you're new to the channel, leave a like and subscribe. And to not miss any future FPL videos, have those notification bells turned on as we build up to game week 1. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.